All right, Chad Gardner in studio. What's up, Chad?
Hey, guys.
Thanks for coming over.
Chad?
Happy to be here.
Congratulations on the new album. Let's just jump right in, and I want to play my favorite track from it and then talk about it and all that. So I'm going to play it on the phone here, and Reeve will sync it up.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all know I know you guys know Nate Ruiz, or at least y'all have met him. He's the guy from Fun. I don't know if it was the first Fun album, but it was definitely the one that came out before Some Nights. It was just a beautiful album, but it still didn't take. And someone told me that he turned to R&B hip-hop producers and then approached Some Nights with their expertise. And obviously, I think Chad is, if I guessed correctly, he seems like someone who he's got the game plan in his head, and he obviously is influenced by different people and everything. But if you think about the kind of stuff that you were doing at Mars Hill and then fast forward to here, it does seem like there is a major R&B and hip-hop, and some of the stuff that you even have going in the background sound like some of the stuff that you would hear in hip-hop songs. But it's just a beautiful, beautiful product, man.
Dude,
are you headed that way? Is that where, do you think that's true?
Well, like if you look at our first album, it's honestly feels like it's two bands. So there's the songs like Defender, and then we have hymns on there like How Deep and All Creatures, and those are just arrangements we played at church.
Yeah.
So that's one version of King's Kaleidoscope. The rest of that album is like Dreams and Light After Darkness, and that feels like it would fit on this album, and that's actually the songs we were writing. Like that's actually what we sounded like, and you can hear that in the last two projects we've done too. But
it's kind of like the parallel to a bar band where people go, "Oh, yeah, y'all play originals? Yeah, we sneak in an original or two." But for worship bands, as you play hymns and you
play
just,
hymns,
you
so
try
it's
to sneak
like
in originals.
yeah.
Here
So
and there.
people who fell in love with that third of that album, our first album, I don't know how they continued to really, really, really like anything else we've done, because it's always been super eclectic. But the last project we did with all the like hip hop guests, The Beauty Between, my mom, she said, "You're sounding more like yourself."
Wow.
So
cool.
that's actually like when people are like, "Well, you changed." It's like, well, no. I mean,
You started
if you
as a
just
hip-hop
liked,
DJ
if
more
you just
so.
liked the hymns we did at church a long time ago. I mean, one, it's a long time ago, but two, that was actually adapted Chad.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else since then
Wow, that's cool, man.
I'm actually as eclectic as the album. So some people don't like how eclectic the albums are, but some people get, oh well, Chad's just kind of all those things.
Yeah.
And all the people in Kings are all those things. So it's still them. It's all real.
Well, this
all
track
of
in
it.
particular is my favorite, so I want to ask one or two technical questions and then move into the content. Because like I said, I'm just now getting to where I'm going to be able to absorb the lyrics, because I just cannot start there. And I'm 100% like, wait, it's got these hip-hop elements and the orchestral elements, and both in a bigger way.
Yeah.
And so I want to know that, and it's that orchestral thing's always been part of your sound, and you've always had the hip hop influence. So this is the best marriage of that yet. But the orchestra is so big. Tell us what that orchestra is and how you did that, because that's so cool.
So in the past we've always had like we recorded like a trio or like a smaller kind of chamber ensemble and maybe like doubled it to make it sound big. But with this album, we actually just hired an overseas orchestra in Budapest, like a full, I don't even know what it was, 40 or 50 pieces in a huge film studio. And it's wild. We score the music, we send it to him, and my buddy John, who has been in and out of the band forever, like doing all kinds of different stuff, he wrote the arrangements. I helped him a little bit, but he did almost all of it. We sent it to them, and then at like 4 a.m, we wake up and we log into Skype and we watch a feed of the orchestra performing, and we literally, in between takes, we give the conductor notes.
That is
Like-
so awesome.
Like, oh, measure 68, clarinets need to be more legato. And he's like, okay, we'll do it again. Take 2. And then they just do
It's
it.
so cool.
It's
That's
crazy.
With technology, I mean, that's just the good uses of freaking online, right?
Yep,
I mean, it's just
yep.
amazing. And it's like really like you were there. Like I saw the video of it,
totally.
and you talked to the conductor and say, take it again. And that's what's so cool.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about in the music space is like, I've been tracking music forever, and you're in ISO booths where you can't see and hear, and there's no line of sight, and maybe you have a little window. How's that different than being on Skype? Skype's better is the answer than being in an ISO booth. Doesn't matter if you're across the world.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it was a wild experience, and it turned out amazing. So we have that full orchestra on this song. We have it on all 3 of the Rush trilogy on the album, and then we have it on. Gosh, I'm blanking. I'll think of it in a sec.
Yeah.
But there's one more. Yeah.
Yeah. So unless you have anything else on that, I'm then curious to talk about the music and Zeal in general. So I noticed the song is called Aimless Night. And I just now looked when I was playing it that it starts with a K. So now I'm like thinking, wait a minute, what's this song about? I thought it was about night. I thought it was about nighttime. I was like, it's dark and I'm in the stars, but I hadn't listened to the words good enough yet to digest them. So help me out.
Well, so some of the songs on this album started with just like a picture. They were more like painting a picture with the lyrics than telling a story, or that's how the story would start. So this beat started and it took months to flesh out, and we had all these musical ideas and and then I sit with it and go, okay, I got vocal melodies, but what does it make me feel like? And the image I had, this is a wild image, was this dude that's all alone, deep in a cave. But the cave is actually a garden, but it's all dark, it's muddy, it's miserable, it's wet, it's damp. And he's just digging up this garden looking for gold. And it's like an endless, like sweaty, like existence of like just searching for basically meaning and treasure. And he's basically like dying by himself in the dark, digging.
For fool's gold.
For fool's gold is actually what he's looking for. Meanwhile, it's like he's neglecting the fact that the whole time he actually has this beautiful garden he could just be nurturing. So it's almost like, that's a really weird image, I get it, but that's what started the song. So if you listen to the first verse, right then left, digging his sweat, head down, dead ground, shovel, step. It's just a dude shoveling, just working. Milk and honey. Like he's looking for the goal of he's looking for like substance in nowhere. I don't yield, I won't kneel. Low light, no sight, tunnel zeal. Like he's just focused on just grinding. So the song really is kind of just about not workaholic vibe, but just the grind for purpose and meaning. And then the chorus is the simplification of all that crazy imagery, which is just aimless night, faithless fight. So those lyrics kind of speak for themselves, and then it keeps going on. And that pre-chorus, so where does the garden blossom deep within my soul? All I know is striving for this harvest of fool's gold. So really it's just about like all of my energy and effort is being put towards a worthless fight, a faithless fight. I'm just this aimless knight. I don't even know which target to be pointing my bow at or whatever, basically.
And so go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to say that those are, it's really great imagery there. Is this, guys, is this you in a way? Is this personal?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So like I'm gonna just keep riffing off the lyrics here, but like second verse, demon diamond, where you hiding? Keep me on a mission like a singing siren. So like, I'm not talking like siren, like woo woo woo. I'm talking like siren, like what would lure, like
an Odyssey.
Yeah, like an Odyssey. Like tempting. And when I'm making music, it's this like super intense battle of I'm making something to prove myself to the world and to prove my talent and my creative genius and get my identity from it, right?
Yeah,
and that's always half the time. And then there's always this nagging, like pushing of like God inside of me being like, dude, just it's all just shit. This is all dust. You know that, right? At the end of the day, like if you make something that moves the needle on people experiencing me or you experiencing me through that, that's all that's going to matter. But so at the end,
real quick,
yeah.
I just have to sell myself out. I'm such a pastor. I can't help it. I at least twice I've gone,
right. So that's the battle,
that's good,
right?
Man.
But at the end of the song, this rap, it all spirals down, and there's this phrase, I didn't see you, I didn't care, looking for lightning under the stairs. And literally what I mean in that phrase is like in my basement, which my studio, like my desk is right underneath our stairs. And I'm like looking for lightning. I'm like, what's going to make everybody just go, oh, holy shit, how did they do that? And I'm just like looking for really my identity instead of just being. And then the whole song ends with settle my spirit, spirit abide in me. And it kind of clicks to me in the song of, I'm just on this endless chase that I'm never going to get. And I'm not actually nurturing the garden of my soul. I'm just tearing it to shreds, looking for fool's gold, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the album is called Zeal, and the whole theme is this. And I know more about the theme than I've digested those lyrics, so thank you for getting through that. But like we said, like you said earlier, we were working on a press release, and it said in there that y'all had written on the studio wall, "Fuck spiritual apathy."
Yeah.
And so now you're in this really crazy middle ground where you're really you're really on the nose with trying to create worshipful, epic stuff.
Sure.
That is very outside of the church or the system, and you spent the last little bit of time rejecting that, and now you're pushing back against a different ditch, which is spiritual apathy. So I would love to hear you.
Yeah. It's like a balance. It's just a pendulum.
You are talking to 20,000 of them right now or more. So let them have it, man. Go for it.
Well, here's the deal. I got to be honest. I have never been, and this is, here goes your audience of like, okay, he doesn't get it. I just have never been the person that's like so pissed off at church organizations or church leadership or how the hell does that happen, or this pastor disappointed me, or, abused me, or like this all serious shit. I get it. But that's never been my personal thing. That's been my friend's thing. And I feel it, and I've walked with them through that for years now. My thing has more been like just a lot of comfort and a lot of apathy. Like when I'm the Chad from Beyond Control that's like having panic attacks every day, and I'm just a like mental health disaster, I feel so close to God because I need him to sustain me. When I'm not that way, like the last year or two, I've just felt really healthy. I'm back on the grind. I'm back to like prove my creative self to the world. And so for me personally, it's this comfortable apathy that I just think, damn, I really miss actually like the conviction to be dying to myself and living for something greater. And I almost miss that intense environment of a church community that calls me to something more and that reveals my sin and stuff like that. And then in my friends, after years and years and years of like, okay, I get it. We're all taking a break from church. We're deconstructing our faith. We're listening to the Liturgist podcast every week and the BadChristian Podcast, or whatever we're all listening to, and we're just like tearing stuff apart. Is anybody happier right now? Like, I get that we've pulled everything up to pieces, but like, there's just a lot of throwing the baby out with the bathwater that I don't want, and I think a lot of my friends honestly don't want. And the whole idea of like, well, some mornings I wake up and believe in Jesus and some mornings I don't. I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to leave it up to my emotions, whether or not, like, you know what I mean? Like that's a big decision there. And that's not really what faith is. It's not led with that feeling. So Zeal is all that stuff combined and swirling around, and just kind of this ferocious attitude of we're not going to just let this all bowl us over. It's kind of like the fight for faith. So the album has this charge to people that I love, and I'm internalizing that a lot. That's kind of like step up and jump off the cliff into faith again. And there's also a lot of pointing to like the enchantment that you once had and the adventure that you once had in faith. Like I can remember being 18 years old, and this would get torn apart on a podcast right now, but like I would go in my tree fort that I built when I was like 13 years old and sit down and read systematic theology. Like I would sit and read Wayne Grudem's systematic theology in my tree fort while the sun was setting, and I would pray. You know what I mean? And how easy would it be to be like, well, that systematic isn't as, accurate as this one, or are you sure you believe that about heaven and hell? Or like, well, where are you on the Calvin? It's like, I don't care about that right now. Like, I just want to have faith. Faith is so much more of a more enchanting way to live than having to have like figure God out. Like I'm never going to do that.
So what do you think though? And this is the best environment possible to speak as free as you can, but what do you think that, let's just say the liturgists or whatever, what do you think that they are doing different than you or us?
Well, they're just, I honestly have no idea. They're just a lot smarter than me, and they think a lot deeper than me, and they probably have a lot of right answers, but that is not interesting to me.
What do you see
personally.
negative about that or this culture?
Well, it's just overthinking everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like it's trying to. It's almost like okay. So the problem with like huge resurgence Mars Hill movement that a lot of us were a part of was we ended up putting our faith in a blueprint of faith.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than like the mystery of like, well, God leaves a lot of stuff up to the Holy Spirit. Like we just can't know. But we were trusting like, well, this is the most legit theology. It just seems like a new version of it. It's like, well, this is a newer legit theology or a new legit worldview that makes more sense in our era. And, it's got to be more mysterious than that.
Chad, I mean,
Anyways.
do you think part of your because this is what I'm finding, because I feel like somewhat similar seasons. Like I'm just like, okay, I want you more than ever, God. I feel like I've gone through I feel like the last few years of deconstruction or callousness or whatever, all of this time being a pastor and never resenting, a lot of the aspects of that job. But I feel like I had to go through that to get rid of all the bad stuff. Like I had so much bad stuff. And the only way it seems like, and maybe it's because I'm hard-headed, but I felt like the only way for me to get rid of the bad stuff is just to be like, okay, I gotta have like some sort of a separation between me and all of that, and have like a trusting attitude sort of thing. But now I feel like, okay, now give me some. Where's the meat? What was I missing out on all that time?
Yeah. No, I'm not like I'm coming across kind of like a bully right now. I know I'm a.
I don't feel attacked.
I think you can take it up a notch personally.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, and so I empathize with, these are all my, some of my best buddies, going through this, and I empathize with them, but there is just like you're saying, like what you had to do, and I get it, but there is a point where you go like, okay, but really like you could die any day and stand before the throne of God, and like, what do you want him to say?
Let me
that
start
shit
to
scares me, man.
Yeah, but let me look at
in a good way, I think.
Yeah, so I think that to criticize. I've heard you use stronger language that this and this other the deconstruction movement is just another monetization of another thing to the same group.
Yeah,
and I don't.
Okay,
I think that's pretty cool. That. Yeah, I do. I think that's an interesting point.
Yeah, because I was lighting you up on text months ago when I was thinking about it, and did he share this with you guys?
Yeah, a little bit.
I was like, hey, man, nobody wants to go to church anymore because everybody's jaded. So Bad Christian's just making money off this whole audience that's basically been hurt by the church. Yeah. So basically your entire business exists because church is like screwed up. Like, are you just the new TBN or something? Like, how does that make you feel? But I'm serious. Like, where would all these podcasts, some of these people are making a lot of money, and it's like, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not really trying to point fingers today. The whole point of the album was to look at this and go, we wanted to kind of like stay in this cyclical deal of just talking about stuff. Is that our new reality? Or are we going to get back to like, yeah, this is really hard to believe this, and like there's slavery and all this old stuff in the Old Testament, but I'm just going to choose to believe that God's actually good and loving, and that's who he is. And I'm not going to understand it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make me question all this other, like it doesn't make me throw it all out.
Yeah.
So
I would say from my point of view, the way I look at it is if I had to pick, I'd just been an explorer. I'm just on a journey, as they say. But in my journey, I can look back at it now and say the thing I've kind of committed to do personally that I think is a higher level of maturity because I experience it that way. And what I've decided to stop doing, I didn't articulate this as clear at the time, I just realized it. I have decided to stop lying to myself as much as I can.
That's good.
And so I know for sure I was lying to myself with amount of certainty I get the Bible or what Mars Hill could be. Like, that was wishful thinking. It was too convenient that I could have it all this way and know I could get certainty or know that I know something that other people don't know.
Yeah.
And so now I have a kind of a rigorous commitment to saying, well, I don't know. And so I don't think of it as much as apathetic as a posture of trying to only know what I really do know.
Well, and I would say that where I am trying to get with my knowledge of God, which I'm doing an awful job at almost all the time, but it's the goal of mine is is the relational knowing. So if I read a book about you, Matt, I would know a lot about you, and I could study you. I could take a college course on your life.
I love that course.
And understand you.
Brilliance 101.
And really know you, in quotation marks, right? But if you just came on tour with me for a month and just you were sleeping in the bunk next to me and I was just with you and eating breakfast and
Mm-hmm.
I would know you, and I would actually know you a lot. I would know you in a whole other realm. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what prayer and time in meditation and time in community and you know, just confession and repentance with really close friends that know you that way, like that's how you know God.
Mm-hmm.
And that's more what I'm looking for, is like, that's the problem with kind of like a lot of my community not being in church anymore, is it's like, I just feel I know you. I know you now, and I know when somebody in your family dies, and I know about you, and we're talking about God, but we're not knowing each other in the same way, and I'm not knowing God in that way. That's very relational. And when I know God in a relational way, I almost don't care as much about big questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not as important to me because
That's a good.
he's a person. You know what I mean? And that's actually and that's where I want people on the album to get, is like, stop thinking about all the big questions. What's the simple thing? And do you feel God's closeness when you sit with that for a long time? So, like, you know, the whole album ends with a little bit of Faith is the last song, but really the album's ending with this song called Oxygen, which is, I had a vinyl record that was cut live of my mom singing Jesus Loves Me at like a church event when she's 8 years old. And so she's a little girl just singing the most basic Bible song. It's like, I trust the Bible and it says God loves me, period. And so the whole album is, that's the other one with the orchestra, huge orchestral arrangement. The whole album really is like culminating. The apex is the most simple song you could sing about childlike faith. And that's where I'm trying to get myself. I mean, we're writing this album for ourselves, honestly. Like, I'm not out here pointing fingers at people. It's like, I need this. My manager needs it. The guys in the band need it. And we see our friends in just regular culture needing it. And it was hard because it's way easier to write an album from, this is something I've gone through, or this is me writing out my emotions as they've just happened. And then you can make songs about that, talk about like a prayer or something like that. This album was like, all right, I need to go 10 steps this direction. How do I write myself there and like write my friends there?
Mm-hmm.
And it's way harder. Like,
Chad,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I think
No, you're good. You're good. That was it.
You know, interestingly enough, you said something, and maybe I read too much into it, but you were like, don't overthink. And I actually think that is part of the problem, that we don't think enough. Like, what do you mean by we need to just
well, when I'm talking overthinking, I'm just thinking like the theological debates and the cultural, like, you could sit and talk about Christianity and how it relates to culture.
Yeah.
For the rest of your life.
Would you substitute that by need for certainty?
It's important.
More than think, though?
I'm saying that's important. But, like, I have done that way more in the last few years than I ever did. And I have done a lot less, like, of just, like, the most, on the nose, boring, get your friends over to your house and everybody pray for each other.
Yeah.
Like, because we all kind of need it. Like, that hasn't really been happening. It's been,
do you think
talking about issues. So when I talk about thinking, I'm talking about like that. I'm just talking about talking versus like, maybe we should just pray for each other or spend some time in worship. Like, if the goal of the church community is to engage with the Holy Spirit versus figure out how we engage what we think in our heads with culture. That's kind of what I'm talking about.
How small do you think the bubble is when you say, because I mean, we come from the exact same spot, and the listeners do too. I can't get this out of my head if I'm right or wrong, or if I'm in some kind of bubble. But you said at the top of this interview, like, well, everybody's deconstructing, and like we're all not going to church right now. How everybody is that? Because it feels like everybody. I know at large, everybody on the street corner of Missouri still going to their local church and all that.
Sure.
But there is a very strong feeling that I don't think is just a small bubble of, okay, like it's different now, right? Toby and Joey, do y'all think that's like different now? Like, I know the numbers are, I don't know, the polls and the numbers, I don't trust them yet. I think
it's not everybody, you know what I'm saying? It's just everybody that's like been in my sphere.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm writing from my sphere, and it's only going to reflect a certain audience. And I get that. Like, there's plenty of people that are like, I don't care what you think about Bethel worship. I listen to it every single morning, and it means something to me. And, like, or whatever. Like, there's mainstream, big mega church going people that still love Jesus, and like, that's great, but the friend groups that we've been rolling with are not in that spot. And that's mostly who I'm addressing.
Mm-hmm. Matt, a perfect example of what you're talking about is all family Christian stores and Lifeway stores are all shut down, and the authors that they banned over the last few years are flourishing. So yeah, right. I do think the climate is completely different.
That's what I'm saying. There is I'm not saying we're at the top of something, but there's an outflow of culture from the art and the entertainment, no matter what. So if people are consuming podcasts, it's Joel Osteen's podcast or this one. And some people used to listen to one and listen to the other now. And I don't see a lot of people that used to listen to this now subscribing to Joel Osteen's podcast.
Sure.
So as small as the sample size is, the trend seems very real to me. And who's going to get out there now? You know what I mean? Like I don't know what that means.
And there's like a need for all of this. I'm not saying like we shouldn't deconstruct. We shouldn't sub all the freaking atrocities that have happened like in the last even 10 years in churches. All this stuff we're pulling apart. It's really good. But I'm also saying like, I am so deeply moved every Sunday when I go to church, even when I don't feel like it. And my wife says, well, we got to go because we got the kids got to go, whatever. I'm half asleep during the service. Or maybe my 3-year-old's with me and I'm trying to keep him from making noise, whatever. When I take communion, it's like nothing else matters. Mm-hmm. It's just the realest thing I ever do every single week. And that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. It's like, I'm looking for that.
It's almost like you're like, oh yeah, there is some truth to all this, and I think that's the biggest thing that I've taken.
And it's a surprise.
Here's the thing. Here's what I think I'm taking.
The pastor says, you know what? There might actually be something true here.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I'm taking into a new way of having faith is I don't need to know everything, and that's where I feel totally confident in saying, nope, I'm off the tracks of systematic theology. Like I just don't think that necessarily works for the Bible. I'm interested in it. I'm curious about it, but I'm off those tracks. And so I think that's why my relationship feels so much more enriching with God, because I feel like I'm communing with the same God that's been there through my depression, through my legalism, through my fundamentalism. But now it's like I'm free to be His. And like, I feel like God laid on my heart that my number one objective for you is to be free. So no matter, and that doesn't mean, so do whatever it means. I'll take care of the rest. You just make sure you don't start feeling guilty. You don't start feeling like you need to be a people pleaser. Your freedom. And then go to the Bible and see if you can back that up. Of course you can. Of course you can back that up. I mean, who the sun sets free is free indeed. Galatians 5:1 says, make sure you don't lose your freedom. And I just feel like there's such restoration. I texted Devin too, and I'll say something along the lines of the music because I started listening to Zeal as well. Music like Zeal, and then specifically like the latest Emery album, for instance, too, falls in this category, but it's especially Streets of Gold that Devin wrote. Like I texted him, I said, dude, every time I listen to this song, I choke up because I feel like it's a theme to my life right now. And it's like the fact that artists like you and Emery are expressing this in music is like cool water on a hot summer day. Because it's like, these are my homies. You know, I don't know you that well, Chad, but these are people that I know. They know what I know. They came from where I came from. And man, I can get a lot out of hearing Devin talk about, I just want God to be true, and I hope to God that I get there and I see that everything was right, and I didn't want to make you upset. I didn't want to, it's just, that stuff is just so cool. Nourishing,
Yeah.
How about that for churchy language? It's nourishing, baby.
I love
nourishing to my soul.
In my journey.
Hell yeah.
Who are you more concerned about or would be more eager to give rebuke to? The Kool-Aid drinker at Bethel or the Kool-Aid drinker listen to the Liturgist podcast? Where is your...
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know.
By the way, this is the kind of question that you would heckle me for.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, come on. You have that impulse. It comes out all the time. Just the microphone's on now. It's only different.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we gave the Bethel rebuke long ago on prayer and like just what we've done in the past. I think this album is much more the rebuke of like, all right, get your head out of get your earphones out of your head and stop listening to other people just talk about faith. And
pause. Turn this podcast off now.
Turn this podcast off now.
Don't finish the rest of it.
And just don't finish. Don't keep listening talking. And just say, wow, when was the last time that I just actually asked God for help or asked to sit with him for just 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Ever. I mean, when was that? For a lot of us. I mean, serious. Even during the, I mean, I don't barely, but like, you know, I mean, I'm trying to, but like, so even on, we have 2 vinyls that we made. So one is the Rush, which is like a 3-part single, and it's a little 10-inch. The back of it, we made it's almost 10-minute instrumental like meditation track with a little card insert that's like a Bible verse just to sit and just pray with. Like, that's how serious we were. Like, what people actually need right now is something like this. We're going to put it in vinyl.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Like, wherever you land on the philosophical way you're approaching it, that's just like, when I say that, it seems like everybody's going through this. Well, I don't know if everybody's going through what we're going through, but the place is different. This earth we live on ain't the same anymore. It's changing rapidly with the technology, with the stuff, with the amount of information we know that sheds different light on spirituality. I mean, it's different. So you better, I mean, it's time to focus on where we headed as everybody together, in my opinion. Like, I don't know what's right or what's wrong. I'm not going to lie to myself about that I do know. But I know it's different. And there's nobody that's like, yeah, things are just normal. No, wherever you are, things are becoming way, way different now. So things like, what were we doing with all this social media time years ago? I don't know what we were doing. We probably were praying some. We probably connected. I don't know exactly, but
that's a good point. We're probably just sitting and thinking a little more, processing.
Being bored, I don't know.
It's crazy. There's more information and less time to process it, which drives us all crazy, and we're all terrified.
I think the thing is, though, it feels like being captured in the moment. That, like, nobody ever got to say all this deconstruction stuff before. Like,
it's true.
You never even got to be, you didn't used to get to be a Christian and say the word shit or fuck. Like, you, what, a year or 2 ago, you didn't get to play, like, churches and Christians said you can't come here. And so the problem, the reason I would push back on this, and even like what Joey says, God told him just be free. I go, well, shit, what the fuck does that mean? What the hell are you talking about? I hold on. Just let me finish. I'm just saying, like, why? I agree with you. You shouldn't listen to anybody or take anybody as the God's honest truth or whatever. But I believe the church, in particular, what we're talking about here, has been so oppressive, and that is the only outlet or only input we've had about our God, that now everybody gets a voice. Everybody shouldn't have a voice. I believe that. Maybe we shouldn't. I agree. You're right. To an extent, I do kind of believe you should turn this off and go walk around and think. That just get some alone time. Like, but I know but also, like, for me, it's just not that simple just to go, okay, I'm just going to pray. Like, so many times prayer has been associated with some stuff that I just felt like was really shitty. Like, it wasn't good. So, like, for example, I haven't been to church in a while, and I haven't taken my family, and we've had more time that we spent with each other, and I still feel guilty about not going to church. I feel guilty that I haven't done communion. I feel guilty that my kids aren't there and maybe learning about God, and that isn't real. That's something that the church put inside of me that goes, and I say church, and I don't want to live in victimhood. And it feels like a little bit that's what you're talking about. People wanting to live in victimhood and stay in victimhood, and it just becomes a cycle. Everything sucks. I totally agree there. It leaches into everything. I was just listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with Kevin Hart, and it was awesome. He was like, the world's so negative now, you don't even hear it. Like, just people talk shit about everything. You just like, it's almost like just white noise. Yeah, okay, you know, and that, regardless of if you're acknowledging it or not, it does seep in. I agree with you, but I do think we're kind of in this moment right now where now maybe we're about to get through it, and everybody's like, "Well, I'm tired of that negative shit. I said a lot of shit. Now maybe I am looking for that joy," and that's part of why I do think I really enjoy your music, and maybe always have. Like Joey was talking about rap and R&B and stuff like that. And maybe some of your influences and the way you're going, but I was like, one of my all-time favorite artists, and I hope you take this as a compliment, seriously, because it's an older artist and he's still around and making great music.
Kid Rock.
Music Soul Child. I don't know if you ever heard of Music Soul Child.
For sure, dude.
But just like one of my all-time favorite artists, and one of the reasons why is there's always some joy. It just exudes from the music, and just the song we just listened to. There's still like it still feels like you're talking about some heavy shit with the lyrics, and there's still some joy there. So I really do appreciate that. I do want the joy. I do want the to try and squash a little bit of the negativity, and I don't want anybody living in victimhood. That's one of the things that I don't know if you're getting at this or not, even maybe with our podcast or some podcasts like ours. sometimes we do get into this, woe is me, man, everything's bad. And then the church did this and the church did this. The only thing that any of those things can do, you let it do. And I mean, of course, there's some really bad abuse, but I'm saying, of course, there's horrific abuse and all kinds of terrible abuse. But the only thing is that abuse will live inside you as long as you let it, or however much ground you want it to get in your heart or in your mind and all that stuff. So that stuff is you going, okay, this is what happened to me. Like for me, for example, I was told if I didn't speak in tongues, I wasn't a Christian. So I faked speaking in tongues. I faked it 3 times. Finally, everybody's like, I guess he's still in the truth. And so that was it. And then
I love that you know the number 3 times.
Yeah. And I mean, I wasn't even good at it. I can remember the first time I did it, I promise you, because nobody else was. I was in the middle of nowhere, South Carolina. I just said, I promise you. I told you my memory works strange. I think I said, sha-la-la-la-la, shabala, sha-la-la-la-la, shabala. I throw a B in. I throw a B in every once in a while, and I hold my hands up, and then everybody's like, oh, he's good. Welcome.
He's good. He's good.
You're in the club. I said a password.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But all I'm saying is, I think you're right, and maybe we're just in this exact moment, Matt. Maybe it felt like you were kind of getting to that too. Everything's changing, and we can't even cope with it. Oh wait, we can all talk shit. Okay, well I want my turn. You know what I mean? And so that's what it is.
It's not. I'm not like I'm not coming at it going. There's a time and a season for everything. So we needed to tear it down. I mean, I know what you're talking about. Not going to church. Like there's definitely. I mean, we did it for a long time. Post Mars Hill is like what we only need to do right now. The best thing for us spiritually is to just not do anything but just hang out with friends on Sundays. Of course, But also, I will say this to the listeners too. Even though I worked at Mars Hill and was on staff, which is probably like one of the roughest places to be, and my wife was treated poorly and all that stuff, I realized this a month ago. So my grandfather passed away recently, and just him passing, I realized the insane legacy of faith that I'm kind of just carrying out, that him and my grandmother started. So, I mean, he helped physically build and community build the church that I grew up at, that my parents got married at, that my grandparents had 5 kids. All of them are Bible believing, like Christians. They all are married to spouses that believe in Jesus. And we've always been super tight. And anyways, but going through that whole process, being in his service, finding out more about his life, I just had this perspective of like, I don't know anybody else in my life that all their aunts and uncles are believers, that my grandparents were believers, that they fostered a whole church community of hundreds of people that my grandpa built with his hands. And I'm almost just like doing exactly what he did, just with music in a different way. All this to say, I come from a really, really, really good example and like lineage of doing church and community well, very well. And I get that it's extremely rare. So for me, it's more work to empathize with the patience and how long it takes for people that, like you're saying, come out of a charisma. Like it could be all kinds of bad situations, but like nobody was ever telling me I had to speak in tongues to be a part of the thing. They were just telling me Jesus loves you from the time I was 2.
Well, we've never had to occupy the space before where you're sitting there saying that, and then the person sitting across from you, and the next thing underneath Twitter is, I was molested unreal constantly by a Catholic priest, so fuck you. So, okay, so now what?
So now what? And what I'm saying is like, I want to be able to like embrace that person and understand everything they're saying and their pain and feel them with empathy, and also still say, will you let me pray for you and let's sing Jesus Loves Me together at this King show, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's both.
But there's so many people that are going, we can be friends, but we are not singing that. Will trigger the fuck out of me to do that. I can't be around that right now. There's people
guess.
That's their real point.
I've heard that. I mean, let me tell you all this. So we started a house church about 3 years ago, and it was pretty much everybody considered themselves a Christian, but they needed different fellowship. Half of the group didn't go to church, the other half did. But over the years, you had people that said, I still want to be in this group, but I'm not a Christian anymore, or I'm looking into Buddhism, and then a new person comes and says, I used to be a Christian. I still kind of believe in Jesus. And it's just like this hybrid. And so what happened is I never wanted this group to be mine or about me or anything. So I just we're going to let this thing turn into whatever it's supposed to be. And about 3 years of turning into, sometimes we have formal discussions. Sometimes we'll talk about a book, but usually we're just shooting the breeze, eating, letting the kids play outside, which all that stuff is important. But I'm starting to hunger again for, hey, can we pray together? Like, we don't even necessarily have to all believe in prayer the same way, but I'm hungry for something deeper, to the point where I'm almost like, hey, if we want to keep being friends and hanging out and stuff, maybe let's do that a couple times a month. I want to be involved in something where people are like, hey, I need something deeper. You know what I'm saying? Like just that community sort of thing. I mean, I feel that way. It's I
agree with that. I definitely think there has to be structure. Like I'm all for, I promise you, I've said this a million times. I'm all for churches going, this is what we are. This, and this. If you don't like it, totally fine. We love you. Don't come here. You're not going to enjoy it. Like same way as I go, I want to go take a science class. Wait a minute. This science class is talking about literature, French literature. Wait a minute. I don't want that. Give me the science stuff, right? Like I can choose, and that allows me to choose. And so that's that. Well, I do believe that in that structure, and you're right. Prayer and sharing that time together. I'm 100% for that. I think the bigger issue with me though is the big issue I have is I feel like the whole church system is full of shit and it's hypocrisy. And one of the guys on this podcast is a pastor and is working with it and finding joy and growth and experiences that I cannot get there. I went to a wedding this week, and several of the people, including the pastor that presided over it, are divorced, and they're talking about these people that are getting married, like you're going to be with each other forever, and it's all this like platitude talking, and I go, well, why in the fuck do I need to go to church to hear fucking bullshit artists? They don't care. They're saying pray together because it's just something they're saying. I don't know if they even mean it.
No, I agree. That's what I don't know. I mean, I agree with that, but my counter is that. One, why would you expect so much of people? Well, that's all we are. I mean, the church is going to be so bad. Jesus
the
died
church
for
expects
it.
Let me interrupt right there. I think you're both exactly right, except for why you say you don't even know if he means it. Well, that's not somebody you should be taught. You should. I'm saying small.
Hold on.
That you do know if they mean
I'm saying stop expecting anything great from any church. They're all going to be awful once you get behind the curtain.
Yeah, but trust is necessary. So if you can't have trust of some remote big pastor, you need this one you know.
You're right.
Matt, you don't even agree with trust.
Yeah. Hold on.
You don't think people should be trusted.
I agree. Trust is important, and find that church. But look, that's a long process. It's hard, and it doesn't happen for a lot of people. It's not about, can I fully 100% trust this organization of completely broken, screwed up people, and they're going to never disappoint me. It's like your problems with the church are a different thing than your problems with Jesus. They just are. And I think people separating that is like, you can have all the problems with the church that you want, and I'll say, yep. And look at me. I'm one of the people. You listen to me, and I'm disaster.
But no, you know what I mean? But trust is not that, Joey. I trust you guys. What are you talking about? I mean, I love trust, but you can't trust much.
Yes, but what I'm trying to write about here isn't the trust of like church. I'm not looking at everybody going like, get your ass back in the pew. I'm saying you might not want to go back to that pew, but it might be cool. You might want to take communion. It might actually be a big deal for you. Or like, let's separate a little bit of this organizational beef you have with actually Jesus and your relationship with him.
And what I'm learning too is there are people like Toby. I mean, with this conversation, it's like, I agree with Toby, agree with Chad, agree with Matt, agree with us all. So another aspect of this is, within the church that irritates the hell out of all of us and this makes me sound like an ego, like, oh, people like me are awesome. I don't mean that, but I'm saying there are people going to these churches that I resonate with 100%, and they're in it for reasons of, I just want to have fellowship, and it's not even great, but I'm meeting people. And then I understand, and this is a whole new conversation, there's also harm that comes from church, was a whole new subject. But there are people within these churches that people are going to that see things exactly like you, but they're like, part of my personality, I got to have this. Well, Toby, that's not you, and I get that, but there's people within, you know?
No, but I think that's a cop-out. What like
what's the cop out? I just made an observation.
What other thing on earth do you give that much rope to?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Toby on this.
What chicken finger restaurant is open right now that serves fucking shitty chicken fingers? You don't know that because they don't exist.
Everything
the church can be so shitty. Take your money, not tell you a single fucking thing they're doing with your money except for we went to Uganda one time. Here are the pictures of 17 white kids.
We got them on a stock footage photography.
It's not a defense to say there's one good one. It doesn't. No. The people do that all the time, and I want to put this on record, and then you'll think about it later. It'll come back up. But with doctors and teachers, people go, "Oh, I know a good teacher. It only takes one." Like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't take one. It doesn't matter if there's one good person. Like, it matters. If like half the doctors are bad or most of the teachers are bad, that's bad. You know how to say, but there are good ones. That doesn't save it. That doesn't save it. It's not okay.
Well, you know what? I deposit my work check every week in this bank. Sometimes I get some of the money back or something.
There's some good people there, and some that steal my money.
Sharon that works the counter, bless her heart, she's actually a really sweet lady.
You can't knock
you just wouldn't do that in any other thing, and so I don't like that.
But
I feel like
you're telling me
way too much.
But okay, so I get all your anger, and it's all real, and it's all right, and it's all.
I'm sounding exactly like what you hate.
No, you're not. You're sounding righteous. I mean, Jesus would be pissed too. He'd flip the table. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I'm saying at the same time, there's no community or there's no church in your entire city where there's a group of people that you would trust to go pray with. I can't believe that.
You're right. I couldn't prove that, and I think you would be right. That there is a group of people with honest hearts. Y'all, of course, that is the truth.
Even if it's 9 people you know.
Even if it's 9 people you know.
At the very least one, but I believe I believe it's many. I think what I'm saying is, what if the church system and since we're not gonna, if we give it this much rope, the actual good people don't get to really be a part of doing the really good things.
I agree.
That's what I'm saying. Like church,
they're just too busy with structure and programming.
Like our TV now, we don't even watch on a schedule. But I have to go to this place at 11 a.m. on Sunday mornings.
Right.
Or
I wouldn't. Netflix would be gone if it was said this is when your show comes on. Sabrina the Teenage Witch comes on only at 10 a.m. and that's when you can find out this information. Like the whole thing is just backwards, and I feel like it's just archaic and not actually encouraging innovation. It shuts down music. It shuts down people being able to think freely and do those things. And it shuts down actual transparency and real vulnerability because the people in charge are just in this club.
So
you're right, but you're painting a brush
I'm probably talking from an authority too. I'm mostly talking about authority. I think y'all are talking about the church people.
Yep.
You're also painting with a huge brushstroke. Like you're painting the right picture, but it's one of them.
But it's the dominant one. So from my point of view, there is we've hit the tip of the iceberg of things there are to tear down. There's lots more to tear down. There's a lot more demolition to do.
But
look, is the way I look at
it. What I'm saying is the past 15 minutes of this conversation is what we've been doing for 5 years. And we can keep doing it, and we should keep doing it some. But what I'm also saying, what the thrust of this album is this enough? Mm-hmm. Is this what our faith has been reduced to? It's just showing how shitty everything is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. If that's
the way I ran my marriage, like if that's the way, like, are you kidding me? That's a disaster.
But can I just be a demolition specialist though? Can I just specialize?
No, you're a child of God. Jesus made you to build His kingdom, not to just tear down the shitty parts of it. That's not what we were made for.
But there's some people with unique points of view to share on one thing. I don't know about how to tell people what theology or to lead the prayer. That's not really my specialty.
If the deconstructing of all this shit and all the horrible stuff that goes on and all the power mongering and all that stuff, if it's not building faith for God, I don't care about it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Can I tell y'all? Let me tell y'all something interesting. See what y'all think. And this will be released later. But I interviewed Darren Patrick, who is a pastor that went through the whole friends with Driscoll, fell, and all that stuff. He theorizes that all of these pastors that are falling is ultimately part of the. And I don't agree or disagree, but it's an interesting thought. Part of the what's the word I'm looking for? Cleansing. Pruning, part of the pruning process of the church. In other words, God is saying, you want consumerism? Have at it. This is what happens.
Yeah, I love that.
And when he said that, I was like, holy shit. Like, things are changing in the church. People are not trusting anymore. Thank the Lord.
And it's
People
good.
are saying
because every
to
pastor
that.
was a celebrity that was just taking money. I get it. Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you, Toby. I'm also saying, like, when was the last time that you personally felt like you were, like, when is the last time that faith to you felt like you were 6 years old and it was Christmas morning and you were just feeling in your gut like, shit, nothing in the world matters except for that I'm God's son and I feel that.
You
like,
can't
do you
make
remember
that happen,
that?
though, Chad.
No, you can't. You can't. But I'm saying that was a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what
I mean, when you're talking about family and friendships, I agree. I sat out by the fire the other night with my daughter, and she said, "Dad, I just love sitting here with you."
Yeah.
And she's not, and I'm just, that is it. Forget it. Right. And I felt, I promise you, I did think that was God. Like, for a moment, I was like, wait a minute.
I love that.
I married this woman, and this woman's inside, but there's this little girl that is pursuing me. And wants to be with me, and it is beautiful, and there's a closeness and all these things, and it just meant so much, and that's one of the reasons why I do feel so passionate about it, because I don't like that this church that we have built is she doesn't have much of a chance in previous history. Like y'all are saying, I know you're saying you're right. This last 5 years has been tough and super negative. I mean, go back the last 100 or 200 years, it was real bad. I mean, what were the people saying? Like, hey, you know, I know that there's some slave owners, but you know, Danny over there is pretty good. I know that these people won't let women talk at all or do anything, but you know, this guy's pretty neat.
Yep.
Like, I'm just saying, you can't, like, you have to, like,
I
almost think you have to burn it down. If I had my way, I would say burn it down and then rebuild what community is, rebuild what actual vulnerability, transparency, all that stuff. Because right now we're hanging on to this thing. We're hanging on to this system rather than I think what you're getting at is the faith. I do want to hang on to the faith. I feel
I'm not defending any system at all. And
no, I know you're not. I know you're not.
And I'm going like it's
people.
not even 5 years. Let's just say we've always had Pharisees.
Yeah.
We've always had people that are robbing people and telling people they got to do stuff to earn God's love. That's not new. You know what I'm saying? And Jesus did a really good job of throwing them down on the mat. And we still need to do that. That's part of kingdom building, is calling them out. That guy's a fake. That guy's shoes are worth way too much money for him to be a pastor or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let's do that. I'm not negating any of that. But let's also just go to the garden and pray together. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm adding into this pot right now.
No, I agree. I think you're talking about the actual faith and prayer and community, which is all the things that I care about. I'm saying, for me personally, that other part is wrapped up in it. Like I wish, you know what I wish? I promise you, I wish everybody on earth wouldn't go to church for a year. Just don't go. Watch them disappear. Watch all the bullshit go away, because everybody had to get a real job outside of the church, and that it is a real job. But you know what I mean, like a job outside of the church, and then just see what happens a year from now. See what faith looks like. God, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't fucking believe it. Don't go to church for 2 years and look what faith could look like, because people will be hungering for the realness, the truth, the transparency, the vulnerability. Hey, wait a minute. I can be this way, and I am a Christian. Like, and then you can have some real conversation. God, I hate, like, I sound
that's
like
hard to argue. No, that's hard to argue. Well, you should say that stuff.
You know what?
Like a fucking moron.
I think you'd find something even more interesting than that if you said, okay, in 2 years, we're going to start rebuilding the church. But in the 2 years, no. I bet you at the end of 2 years, you'd find that the real things already had emerged organically.
You would see prayer. You would see faith. You would see community. It'd be unbelievable.
Here's the deal, though. It still would disappoint you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
Because it's people. You know, like I just said, like half of me making this album, I just got the CDs today, half of me making this thing is this fight to prove myself to the world. What do you think a pastor feels like when he gets up and has to preach?
Yep.
He is fighting, am I good enough?
But he shouldn't be in that position, though.
Everybody's in that position until we die. I mean,
but all I would say, though, is the pastor role is probably the worst role to have that sort of mentality.
Of course it is. But I'm just saying,
you can't
that
escape
pastor is still sinful, and he's still a needy, and he's a child that just wants to know that his community loves him.
Yeah.
And we're all the exact same way.
Chad, you're actually putting words to what I've been feeling at this conference. Like I was telling these guys before you came on, like I'm so thankful that, and it may just be a week season, like a WEEK, where it only lasts for a week, but I just feel like I'm just so tired of being angry. I'm so tired of being so critical. And I think the criticism, it has to continue. I can't muscle through it right now because when I see the dummy that I always would listen to and be like, what in the world is he talking about? Why is everybody listening? Why do we have these lights and all that? And it's just it's a person. Like, what do I expect? And when you say what you said about, you can't expect, like if you gather a lot of people together, even 12, somebody's the leader, and
they're just a regular dude, and everybody's gonna.
But the guy volunteering for the leadership role is often the weakest, most insecure, worst thing. That's that's one of the problems with it. And Joey, you're tired of being angry.
I get it.
Toby, how about you? Are you sick of being angry? No, it's more like a fish in water kind of thing.
Here's where I feel like Toby's hurt. I hear him going, oh.
This is where I feel it's a challenge to me. I think you're exactly right. I'm not as far on stopping the criticism just because I do think it's more recent, but we just feel it really strongly. I do think you have to pair it, and this is what I feel guilty on this podcast personally for me. I feel very guilty that there isn't pairing. We don't pair it enough with the joy, with the hope, with it. Like I said, I feel more strongly about Jesus probably than I ever have in my life. Like that, it is crazy. So crazy. I feel like I feel like sometimes like serious, like, whoa, where the hell did this come from? And I think part of it is because I have pulled myself out so far that I'm just seeing like this raw Jesus, like just this real thing where I'm like, whoa, hold on, this is about, oh gosh, it isn't about me. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, what do I want? Some church that would fit what I want? That would be. You're right. That would be disgusting. That would be horrible.
Toby's
I don't
church.
want it to appease that. I want that structure. I'm a person. My brain even feels that way. Like I need that structure. I want somebody to say, okay, hey, listen, this is what we're doing. We're going to pray here. I'm going to open up this. I'm going to open up Deuteronomy. This is what we're going to talk about. And here's where we're going to get real on this. Like those things, those structures, and sharing the sacraments and singing songs and all that stuff. The bigger picture for me though is, you're doing this on this record, and it finally feels like, man, this is the real Chad. You said your mom said it was the real Chad. Holy shit. And that means, you know what that means?
In the way, then.
The real guy's here talking about, holy shit, I care about faith. Man, I care about prayer. What the hell? Like the real guy's there. Wait a minute. This is what I believe. For the first, maybe one of the first times, it's coming through the most clear.
Yeah.
And
I think of the religion.
That makes me think, oh man, art is back maybe. Maybe, you know.
My guess, Toby, is the reason why you feel so close to God right now is because all of the answers don't need to be answered anymore. The fact that you feel God's presence, that's it. Like, why do we need more than that? He's just also
out from under there's no boot on his neck.
It seems like a little bit of limited training wheel kind of situation. I do believe religion's been good for the globe over time, and I do believe it is good even for us, to be in some kind of system of some sort growing up and having, I just do think it's when you put a limit on it or a cap, it does feel like something you should be able to move through and even beyond. I mean, I don't say beyond, but beyond the idea of a social structure led by this person, whatever. I think you should be able to move past and through that with maturity. It's like a reduced version of who God is for my little kids. You can't limit it there. And that's what I think we're like, you've been limiting us for so long. Here's the real Chad. Here it is. So the other stuff has been both helpful and has been getting in the way.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
Well, anyway,
I love the idea that like
I
hate, y'all know me, I can't hardly stand Christian music. And now I literally can say, there's a Christian artist, I'm jealous of them. Like, I'm like, shit, that's good. When is the last time I listened to an album about God and went, hey, that is good? That don't happen much.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. Like this, maybe this is just, I think you're right, but I just think if we can just wait a little bit longer and add that component of joy, hope. Wait a minute. Everything isn't the fucking word. Like I've said this a million times. We live in the best possible time ever. And I know there's a lot of stuff to fix, but I mean, you wouldn't trade any other time as far as safety, medicine, technology, all that stuff, and the ability, like you said, to access God and access other people. So I do believe, I think we're in agreement. I think y'all are talking more about people, and I'm probably talking more about the church system and the failings of that, which I know y'all agree with. But I do hope we can just, there should be some culmination of this, and what does that look like? That's where I would love to get to. What does it look like 5 or 10 years from now? What is the church? Oh wow, That's something. That's fresh.
I certainly don't see this
raw.
as a demolition mission. It's just exploration, and hopefully it's figuring it out. I just see that myself as I'm trying to figure it out. I'm going to do that out loud.
I think
wherever that goes.
So much of the terrible stuff has been shed, which has been really, really, really helpful. Obviously, there's just also like, okay, we can keep going at these Pharisees all day long, but like, what else are we? Is that it? Is that all we're doing? That's basically the frame.
No,
of the
I agree.
record.
I agree.
Right on. All right. Well, Chad, thank you for coming by.
Hey,
Good
by the
luck
way,
with
you're
record.
right. As soon as this podcast stops making money, I am quitting. You won't hear another word, and I'm starting a church.
There would be no. Yeah. We'll follow the money.
Well, you probably got the right perspective to start a church right now, so do it. Man, thanks for having me, guys.
Well, this tour is going to be huge, and it's very ambitious. All the things that are going on. So everybody knows. You heard the song. You can find it on Spotify. But let's do it. Let's support the good music and the good podcasts, or the bad ones. If you don't support the bad ones, support the good ones. But you have to decide what they are. You have to decide which ones those are, and that's up to you.
Oh man. Both and we need it all.
And last thing, I really do. That's what I'm saying. I just love it that you have a strong opinion. That means at least it is real. That's the thing I want to talk
passive.
to people about. I don't feel like you're not putting anybody down. You're saying what you think, and then that's what I really appreciate. Are you coming to Nashville? Is Kings K coming to Nashville?
That's the first show. 2 weeks.
Hell yeah!
It's scary, man. It's our first full national bus tour with freaking LED wall and lights, and I mean it's like the whole deal, and we're like, is this gonna work? It'll work. It'll be
How
epic.
close are y'all coming to Charleston? Are y'all going to Greenville or anything like that?
Atlanta, probably.
Yeah, probably Atlanta.
What's the chance I could get a couple free tickets and then really impress my daughter?
Oh, of course. They're yours. Text me.
All right, I will.
All right, thanks, Chad.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so y'all remember, go get your tickets to the Zeal tour at kingsk.com and see that. Some of them already sold out, though, of course, like we said. So,
Matt, I texted Toby and Matt, and I didn't tell Chad this on the interview, but I texted them, and I was being serious. I was like, do y'all think he's ever going to be big time? Because when I started listening to Zeal for the first time, I was like, there's nothing like this. It's just so good. He is so good. It seems like he hasn't hit his ceiling yet, but maybe in the context of what he's doing and the Christian affiliation, all that stuff, maybe he has hit a ceiling. But Matt, do you foresee territory unexplored that's in the future for him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not closed to any kind of possibilities. I'm an optimist about everything. So, I mean, I like to use the rule of thumb that past performance is a good predictor of future. So if a trend is going upward, I mean, you got to be crazy to say, well, that has to be the top. You don't know that. People do that with real estate markets and stock markets and stuff all the time. You go, okay, well, it's been good. This has got to be as far as this can go. I don't like that mindset, really.
I think they're kind of like I keep thinking of it kind of like the rise of like Portugal the Man, who we used to tour with when they were Anatomy of a Ghost. I think they're in that category of, oh, wait, they're a great band. They're doing something really neat. And if the right pieces fall into place, there's going to be something really skyrocket. It's going to go next level. And they have that opportunity to go next level for sure.
Yeah. Matt,
even that I've never been super big on. I now say I'm not big on that optimism either, because to not say that anything like the likes of even what Emory, much less Kings K, has achieved is not monumentally significant would betray. I don't think of the types of things we've done and they do, and bands that can sell out rooms at 1,000. That ain't no small thing. That's
I agree.
Ultra rarefied air. It's 0.0001%.
Yeah, they're already very
musicians.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just to be there is already that. So if you're talking about next level things, that's all gravy. Or I'd go the other way. Might be bad to blow up any bigger than you can make a good full-time living and be known by people that are similar to you. Like maybe that's my current point of view, that's ideal. Like bigger is not better.
Matt, haven't I heard you put Chad in the same category of people as like Toby and Bridget, like people that you love hanging out with, learning from, interacting with, but drive you bananas?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.